Young at 30-1. I think it's a really nice course for him at the Rocket Mortgage in Detroit, Michigan for him. Wyndham Clark at 36-1. And I also like Alex Noren at 60-1.
My Morency drunken Brit dart toss golf pick, which does win like 2-3 times a year, guys. Some insanely enough. But I'm going to say Matt Fitzpatrick.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
I do believe that SJ now is the number one player in the world. The things that he can do from the point of attack, offensively and defensively, his ability to drive downhill and score at all three levels. And the thing I like most about this young man at 26, he's so humble. He's so humble. And that speaks to the whole culture of OKC that Sam Presti and Mark Daigneault has built. Humble team, folks.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
No way that I'm betting on the Cleveland Cavaliers for any reason whatsoever.
No.
Ever. Like, when they had LeBron James, it was a different story. I think Spider's great. He's no LeBron. I don't see him carrying them to a title. And I don't believe in the Knicks at all. The Knicks never get it done.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Kevin Durant, at the age of 36 years old, after 17 seasons that he has played in the NBA DRS, is now on his way to H-Town.
I don't think it's a great move. I wanted him to go to a ready-made championship team full of a veteran roster and see if he can ring chase that way. Not to go to an organization on the come-up that if you just stay the course, and also, what better blueprint do we have than just staying the course than OKC, right?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
And welcome in. It is in-game live game day here on the grid as we continue along on this beautiful July 4th. Happy July 4th, Independence Day, America, and for those up in Canada as well. It feels like a Saturday or a Sunday. It definitely does, but it is a Friday afternoon. Scott Wetzel alongside Joe Madden for the next 4 glorious hours, old school, like we used to do on weekends. Right up until 8 p.m. Eastern time, Joe, watching, analyzing the world of sports. We had the hot dog eating contest, little controversy over that, just because they fiddled around. You can't even trust the hot dog eating contest these days. We got that to talk about. We got full slate of MLB. We got a Canadian Football League, little CFL action. We got tennis. We keep an eye on that. Little golf we can keep an eye on as well. So got a couple things here to put some shekels on for sure over the next 4 hours. What's going on, Joe? How are you on this July 4th?
I'm doing pretty good. So happy July 4th to everyone out there. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Got the barbecues going, listening to us here on SportsGrid with the games on. But I tell you, Scott, we've got high-scoring games right now. We're at the bottom of the 8th right now between the Phillies and the Reds. The Phillies at home are down in this one. Reds up 9-6. We also have the Cubs up 8-1 over the Cardinals. And then the Yankees and the Mets. 3-2 game right now, bottom of the 3rd. So very high scoring day. Do you have any angles that you come into big holidays like July 4th with on the Diamonds?
Yeah, I do like playing the overs, Joe. I generally like playing the home teams as well, just because if you are playing, and don't ask why, but Major League Baseball has decided to give a few teams off today. So if you are playing, generally speaking, you're playing in front of a sold-out crowd, a little more hype, a little more buzz in the stadium, so that gives the edge just a little bit more to the home team. But I think you hit it on the head, Joe. I mean, you look at the game earlier today, right? Red Sox all over Washington, 11-2. That's an over. You already have 9-6 Philadelphia Reds. That's an over. You got Cubs 8-1 over the Cardinals, top 7. That's an over already. And in the 4th game, Mets and Stankies, you said it, Mets leading 3-2, only in the 4th inning. Over-under on that one was 9. Did see a bump up to 9.5. That's well on pace for another over. So we got a slew more games. Do you buy that trend? You got a couple starting here in a few minutes. I mean, do you just do a blanket over? Or at least, kind of pick and choose maybe, but certainly look for some more overs. Is that a trend for today? Whether it's the weather, day baseball, the extra, buzz in the stadium, yeah. I don't know. But I am looking for some more overs today.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking at some more positions for us to jump in on overs. I think we might have to be careful with a couple of these with strong pitching coming out. But Scott, I think the majority of the games today, if you blanketed all of the games, I think we'll see at least 75% of these games go to the over. So that's what I'm looking at. I think we're going to have plenty of opportunities to jump in on some totals, especially if games start off a little bit slower there.
Yeah. As I speak, the Yankees scored, so now we're at 3-3. So now we're going to get at least 7 runs. And like I said, we're probably going to get to 10 regardless anyway. But, top of the 4th, and we already got 6 runs. We got some big numbers out there. We see some 10s. Tampa Bay, Minnesota, a 10. We got a 9 in the Toronto Angels game. 11 in the White Sox, Colorado. That figures 9.5 Astros, Dodgers. So you're right. I mean, I don't think you can just blanket it. But I think at the end of the day, what do we have? 13 games today, I think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on a second. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I can't think. 14. I think I counted too many games. Anyway, you're right. I bet it is probably 80% overs today when everything is said and done.
Yeah, it should be, right? Like, I'm even looking at the Pirates game versus Seattle, and I know both of those teams had those struggles to get those hits, but we got a 7.5 with plus money to the over. If like one of these games is going to stay under, I would say this one, but I expected kind of an 8.5 here. We know Woo's being strong. It's going to be interesting to see where that one falls out, but I do think that could be a tighter matchup than we expect that goes to extra innings. So automatically, I'm liking the over there, Scott.
14 games today. Yeah. We're right now 3-0. Who knows what they right? So out of 14 games, just out of pops and giggles, throw a number out, and then we'll when we come back tomorrow, because you and I are hosting the show tomorrow. Out of 14 games, I'm saying 11-3 over.
Well, you took my number right out of my mouth. Okay, I'll go 12-2, but I do think it's 11-3 or 12-2, right? Like, I think it's that strong to the over today.
Yeah, definitely. So something to keep an eye, which is good for everybody, right? Because if we bet props, whether it's just an over bet or it's props on players, 8 times out of 10, you're betting it over on a prop, not an under. So, but that's just something to keep a keen eye on. Another thing we like to do here, Joe, on weekends, and hence today as well, a little extra inning round robin team parlay. What we do is we take 5 games, and put them in a 2-game round robin parlay. We'll spit it out right. So you put $1 on it, you're going to risk $10 since there's 10 different combinations. So we pick 5 games and put them in a round robin extra inning parlay. All these got to have to go to extra inning. And every 2 that hit, you win money. So that all said, I'm going to use Tampa Bay, Minnesota. That's just getting underway. No major rush to the window, because you can bet these once the games are underway. So, but still, like to get the original number. That's plus 860. That should be actually, it should be a higher scoring game, but a lot of runs, so no team is ever going to be out of it. So we're always going to have a chance for extra innings there. Pittsburgh, Seattle, why not? The Pirates playing great baseball, right? Won 6 in a row. Going to use the Angels in Toronto, another game that should be a high scoring game. I always like playing either super high or super low scoring games. I'll take the Tigers in Cleveland, only because the guards are struggling here, losing 7 in a row. And then we'll take, just for blanks and giggles, it just figures the worst game on the board. We'll take Chicago versus Colorado, because it would only be fitting for that game to go to extra innings. Like that game should go 5 innings, let alone extra innings. But plus 890, as you see. So we risked $10, and if all of them come in, which they won't, but if all of them come in, Joe, it's going to pay $813 for every 2 that come in. You're going to make, on average, $81. So if 2 come in, we win 81. If 3 come in, we have 3 different combinations, right? We'll win 240. So not a bad little investment for our $10 charge on that.
Yeah. I think it's fantastic. And I love your little joke on the White Sox and the Rockies. Yeah, no one even wants to watch 5-6 innings, right? So it's going to go 12. So I love that one to the over. Right. I mentioned Pittsburgh and Seattle before you threw that out with that total. And that's why I like the total to the over, because I do think extra innings is coming in that one. I think we've got quite the battle today. And July 4th, everyone wants to put on a show, Scott. So you're going to get the best effort out of all of these teams. Do you think teams are headed home like after these games that are early? Probably not, right? Like they're going to celebrate July 4th in the city they're in, maybe?
Yeah. These are all the start of the weekend series. So these teams are all going to be there. So how many people, Ted, you're a big baseball fan, right? So let's just say the Blue Jays or the Rockies. Now, the Blue Jays are playing great, so you don't need a reason to go to a Toronto game, right? But you're a Toronto fan. Like, how many people are going to go out of their way in Colorado to see the Rockies versus the White Sox? Now, it is fireworks night, so you're going to get a decent crowd. But, I mean, even on fireworks night, if it was Colorado versus Toronto, and both teams were like these two, would you go? I mean, is that enough to entice you to go to the ballpark? Because of fireworks?
Oh, it absolutely is. Right, and I would go to the ballpark no matter what for either of these teams. If I lived in that city, any chance I could get to go to a ball game, Scott, sign me up. I would be in like a dirty shirt. Give me a margarita, sit me in the stands, and I'll be happy as pie.
I don't know if they sell margaritas in Colorado. Well, maybe they do. Who knows? Maybe they might. Yeah. You can get sushi at somebody's place. You can get almost anything. It's crazy with these ballparks now. They got bars in the ballparks and everything else. So you know what? You're right. You get a little margarita and sit there and be happy. So, all right, we got some games underway. We got some coming up. We'll break the ball down. Just underway in Game Live, Game Day on the Grid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back. It is in-game live game day here on the grid on this Friday, July 4th. Scott and Joe till 8 p.m. Eastern time, just getting underway, 4 hours right here on the grid. For the most part, baseball. We do have some CFL action a little bit later on. We'll definitely delve into. Keep an eye on the Wimbledon, see if there's any upsets in the making, and a little golf as well, Joe. So we'll start with baseball. Had the one game earlier. Red Sox beat up Washington. Nice, easy win. Game goes over. Yankees and Mets on the board right now. They are tied 3-3. They're playing in the fourth. Yankees 1-9. It's technically a road game for the Yanks. It's at Citibank Field where the Mets play. So 1-9 last 10 road games for the Yankees, including getting swept up in Toronto against your Blue Jays. 1-6 last 7 overall. They're in second place now after being in first place for I don't know how long. Probably the whole year, except for maybe the first week they weren't in first place. But they're in second place now. Mets not much better. 5-14 their last 19. 4-13 their last 17. They are 6-1 at home against the Yanks. I like the Mets. They relate a small price, bullpen by committee type of game, and really, as we were talking before the show, love the over 9, even 9.5 if you got it at that. I think we're going to get a ton of runs with the Stroman and a bullpen game for the Mets. So looking pretty good from that standpoint. What'd you like in this game?
Yeah. Yeah, it's looking fantastic. I was with you. I took that over 9.5 going into this one. The total's sitting at 11.5 right now. It's plus 118 to the over. And I do think we're going to get there. You look at this ball, it's flying nice and deep out of the park. I rode with Soto for the home run. I was able to get him at like plus 362. I know some books had it all the way up to plus 400, but looking at him versus his former team, I couldn't not play on it today, Scott. So he came out and nicely did that. If you bet on Judge, you've already seen Judge's home run come in, but we are thinking the same here today. I just can't trust the Yankees bullpen as much as I can trust the Mets bullpen. So I did ride with the Mets. I laid that juice at like right around minus 130 for them to just get the win here at home on July 4th. Expecting a nice big day out of both of these teams with the Mets to walk away with it, Scott.
You want to press the envelope here and go Judge another homer at 4-1. Soto, they're giving you 6-1 to get a second home run. But that's a good hunch bet. I didn't think about that first game against the Yankees, first game against his former club. That was a good hunch bet. And like I said, both of them, you mentioned both hit home runs in the first inning. So you want to double down or at least take some of that profit on either one of those two?
Both of them. Yeah, I would take both of them. I'd take Soto for another one, especially at 6-1. And we know Judge, July 4th, he wants to come into this ballpark and go deep again. So I'd take both, right? At plus 4-1 for Judge, plus 6-1 for Soto. Yeah. One of them's cashing, Scott, and you're going to make money.
Yeah, and I still like the over 11.5. Same thing with you. Fourth inning, this has got 7-5 at least. 12 runs written all over it. So I do like that. Home run out of the Cubbies. They've extended their lead to 10-1. So in case you got an over/under of 9.5 for whatever reason, it did go over that. That's basically unbettable, Joe. 9-6 Reds and Phillies. They're in the bottom of the ninth inning. That's all locked. Philadelphia's down 3. You can't bet it now because everything's locked. They got a runner on first base, so if they post some new numbers, then maybe we'll do a little hunch bet there. But the games that are just getting underway, Tampa Bay and Minnesota. As I said, a surprisingly high the run total, 11. Devil Dogs, as we like to say, 12-5 last 17 against Minnesota. 5-0 after a day off. If you want to buy into a little, they get regrouped and the bullpen gets all rested up. If you like that, Minnesota struggling. 4-14 their last 18 games. I got some pitcher props here. I'll throw at you in a little bit, but Chris Paddock is pitching for the Twins. Maybe this is a fluke, but not that he's great anyway. But the Twins are only 1-10 when he pitches after a loss. Sometimes pitchers kind of like rally the troops and is the stopper of those losing streaks. Chris Paddock clearly is not. So little thing leaning towards Tampa Bay on this one.
Yeah, I think you have to. And I think the price is right for the Tampa Bay Rays. Interesting numbers here as a road underdog, Scott. On the season as a road underdog, they've actually gone 16-9. So they've come out really strong in these games. They're also 7-2 in their last 9 games out there on the road, and they're playing solid ball. And Zach Lido should be able to come out and make it a hard day here for the Minnesota Twins lineup. That being said, though, looking at this total, the Tampa Bay Rays and the Twins, it's still a 9.5. It's plus 104 to the over as we go into the bottom of the first. And I do think we're going to see these runs today here on July 4th. So I'll take a shot on the over 9.5, but I think the Rays can get it done. They're live right now at plus 124, Scott. So better value than I got earlier. I got them at minus 105.
Yeah, that's not bad. Another home run for the Cubs. They went back to back. I'll tell you what, I'm not a big home run prop player, but if you are and you played home run props in this game, Joe, if you didn't hit any, then you might as well just give up gambling because they got one homer. I mean, honestly, in all seriousness, right? You say that about certain games and certain bets. If you didn't hit at least one home run prop this game and you played it, just, you know what? Take the day off. Take the day off. Enjoy outside. It's a beautiful day. Go light the grill because it's not happening if it's not going to happen here. There have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold on. I stopped myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 home runs in this game already.
And imagine
That's what I mean.
Imagine picking one guy or picking two guys and they still haven't hit Scott. Oh, that'd be painful.
I know, right? I mean, that's why I say, wow, just take the holiday off here. So 11-1. Yeah, the Lidl props, when you see a number go as high as it was, I don't know what it was beforehand. I know it wasn't 11. I would have noticed that. So it bumped up. Zach Littell, I got him for 4.5 strikeouts. He's 8-9. Nothing really jumped off the page this game. I will say his outs, though, was 17.5. He has, believe it or not, gone 6 innings in 13 of his 17 starts. That over-under scares me. Something tells me they think he's not going to go very long, but numbers-wise, he should, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, he absolutely should. I think he's in for a strong day here. We know the Twins have had some struggles. They've had those inconsistencies. So we'll see how long he goes, but I wouldn't take it to the under, Scott.
Yeah, definitely not. And Chris Paddock is 3.5 strikeouts. Again, another game where they offer the strikeouts, but not outs for Paddock. Very weird. I will check out the other games when we come back to game 1.
Looking for an edge in betting basketball? Injuries can make or break a game. Get insider knowledge from Dr. David Chow and the team of experts with Sick Picks at Sports Injury Central. We reveal hidden health-based advantages the sports books miss. Our doctors provide insights, and our algorithm tells you who to bet on. Spreads, props, totals, in-game bets, Sick Picks covers it all. Go to SickScore.com and sign up for Sick Picks and use the promo code SportsGrid for a free week today.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that rhythm. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
First time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let them go.
Hi, welcome back. It is In-Game Live, Game Day here on the grid on this July 4th, Friday afternoon. Scott Wetzel, Joe Madden until 8 p.m. Eastern time, just getting underway, touching on some of the games that are just also getting underway, Joe. So Pittsburgh and Seattle, boy, what has got into the Pittsburgh Pirates as we continue with Major League Baseball here? God bless them, right? They won 6 in a row. They blitz the Mets. They blitz the Cardinals, shut out the Cardinals in 3 straight games. I mean, how would be talking about one of the most historic franchises in all of baseball, and they can't score 1 run. Forget about winning; they can't even score 1 run in 3 games against Pittsburgh. So they're 12 games under 500, taking on a Mariners team that's at home playing halfway decent baseball. Brian Wu, pretty good pitcher on the hill for the Mariners. Pittsburgh got a nice little 10-5 overrun. Series, not that they play that often, is 9-3 over as well. The way the Pirate bats are, it's tough to go against the Pirate pitching staff, though. So, but you know what? I don't get in front of a train like Pittsburgh. If I was going to play it, I'd probably take a little stab on the Pirates as small dogs.
I think you have to with how hot this team is rolling right now. Plus 152 right now on that money line on FanDuel. It's definitely worth a shot. Now, I know Brian Wu is excellent. He's one of those pitchers that really does not have a bad day out there. But I do think in this one, we're going to see those runs come in. Now, we just had that total drop from 7.5 down to 6.5. The 6.5 is highly juiced, so minus 154. I do think we will get over this number. I do think there's a possibility of extra innings. This is one of your extra inning bets, Scott, here. And I do think it has that possibility. So at 6.5 at minus 154, I don't like the number to the over right now. As soon as you're getting better value, I would definitely be looking at that number to the over. I would even say if it bounces back up to the 7.5, I still am confident and liking that over at that point, Scott.
Yeah. Pirates, I don't know how you explain it, except that just, even bad teams have great runs. And like I said, 6 straight wins. I'm not sure which is more impressive, the fact that they got 6 straight or the fact that they've given up, Joe, 4 runs in the 6 games, including those back-to-back shutouts against the Cardinals. But even against the Mets, they only gave up 4 runs in 3 innings. So, it's one of those where it's just either, to me, if you're a smart player, you either play on the Pirates or you don't bet against them. It just doesn't make any sense in my way. I know Rue's a good pitcher, and I get all that, but I don't like betting against streaky teams where they're on such a streak like they are. Maybe they lose 10-0 today and you kick yourself, but I'd rather kick myself for not making a bet than kicking myself for making a bet that lost. Then I'm like, what am I, an idiot? I'm betting against the Pirates? What am I, a dope? Right? So that's where I'm gonna go.
Well, especially when they're coming in at so much plus money right now, right? It's worth taking a shot at the number we're getting. If we were coming in and we're laying minus 140 with the Pittsburgh Pirates versus Seattle with Brian Wu on the mound, then it would be a pass for me. But because we're getting that great plus money, we have the ability, because of how hot they've been, for them to cash it. I'm willing to put my money there. So I guess it's risk versus reward here in this one, Scott. And at that plus money, I'm willing to take the risk.
Yeah, I did the under strikeouts, and I don't like going under on Pittsburgh games. I really, because they're one of the main strikeout teams. Another one of those games where they only listed the one pitcher, and they didn't even list Wu's outs, which is kind of weird because he's an established pitcher. They listed his strikeouts. Maybe they did later on, but when I looked this afternoon, it was only the strikeouts. It was 6.5. He's only hit that 5 of his last, 5 of 11, so 5 of 16 starts this year. But again, I understand why it's 6.5. They're giving you plus money. At least they were, because the Pirates are one of the worst strikeout teams. But not the way the Pirates are playing. They're not one of the worst strikeout teams. Let them get back out of this funk. So I took a little flyer on the under Wu strikeouts.
We just got 2 runs on the board by the Seattle Mariners. They're up 2-0 right now over the Pittsburgh Pirates. To come back in on the Pirates are plus 360. Team still has every opportunity, Scott, but Seattle is not making it an easy day at the ballpark for the Pirates today.
Yeah. We got another couple of runs. I thought you were going to say this. We got another couple of runs out of the Stankies. So Dominguez with another home run. Did he hit one to start the game? Was it him that hit one? But 5-3 now. Yeah, so he's got 2. So we talked about Soto and Judge. We should have just thrown Dominguez in there as well, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, we did, but hopefully you guys were smart enough to do that on your own. But 5-3, top of the 5th, 13.5. That may, when everything is said and done, Joe, we're just basically underway. But that 11.5 for this game, it's sailing by that. It just is. I even like the over 13.5 now at 5-3, top of the 5th. We're going to get a ton of runs out there.
Right? Do we get more runs in that one or than the Astros and the Dodgers? I think we go deep in that one as well.
Yeah, we can get a ton of runs on that one. Yeah, we'll figure it out when we come back. Didn't get it live. GameDay on the grid.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Kalshi has been around since 2018, offering these event contract trading prediction markets where you can wager on things like the weather, whether or not Dave Portnoy is going to give a 9.0 on his next pizza review spot, and then the election, which is where they really made headlines. Election betting is technically illegal.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I was betting on the games and stuff, and I didn't always take the Expos. And there was a game once the Expos came back from like a 9-2 deficit in like the 9th inning. And on the post-game show, I got like 3,000 calls. The phone was blowing up. Morency, that was the greatest game in the last 10 years of the Expos. Awesome stuff. Hey, what do you think? I'm like, what I think? The Cubs suck.
Sports Rage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is in-game live game day here on the grid on a July 4th afternoon. Scott Wetzel and Joe Madden, hour number one of our 4-hour stay until 8 p.m. Eastern time. Really kind of limited. We were talking about there, Joe, in the break. When I first saw the schedule, I saw 13 games. Okay, we got a ton of games today, and then we had the one earlier today, and most are at night, which, kind of figures because it's fireworks night. So we really only have, once this Cubs game ends, which it should in a couple of moments, it's 11-1 in the 8th inning. Really just got basically Yanks and Mets, Rays and Twinkies, and Pirates and Seattle Mariners. So we'll maybe do a little preview of some of the other games. Take a look at Wimbledon. Haven't checked the golf board lately. I didn't do anything. Cam gave me a couple of picks. We'll have him on a little bit later on in the program with the John Deere Classic. But leaders are on the board, and they're all actually almost through today. But you got a couple. Did you any? In fact, I will say this: you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 6 people tied for the lead at 11 under par. Kind of like that, the Red or the St. Louis Cardinals Chicago Cubs game. If you played golf and you picked like 2, 3, 4, 5 golfers, and you don't have one out of the 6. You might as well just give up playing golf. I mean, the whole world's tied for the lead, Joe. I mean, you got another 5 guys that are like one shot back. You got like a dozen guys that are at the top of the leaderboard here. How goofy is that?
Yeah, that is crazy to see all these guys coming out so strong and being tied up. Woo Kim coming in as a favorite right now over on FanDuel plus 500 to take it all. Scott, where did you end up going? Did you end up tailing Cam's picks?
I did. I grabbed, he rattles them off so fast. So I will tell you, I got to log in. I grabbed like 5 of the 6 or 7 that he gave out. So I'm not sure if I look at the list there. I have to see. Next break I'll log in because, FanDuel is, they don't allow you to, God forbid they shouldn't locate you. So I'm still having issues with FanDuel on that on my own computer.
I tell you, it's trying to find those tickets, Scott. Scrolling down through all the tickets we put in during the day, it's like you've got to have your full focus on there. And don't accidentally hit the wrong button and cash out of something that's giving you a cash out, right? You got to be careful in this bet flip, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if I don't have, like I said, there's 6 tied for the lead and then another 5, so that's 11 golfers. If Cam didn't give me at least one, I'll even go real super conservative. If he didn't give me at least one of these 11 golfers, then that's it. I'm done with Cam. I'm done. Just joking.
You can tell him in the last hour. He's up in the last hour on our guest list. You can air your grievances at that point, Scott.
I think he, you forget which weeks, because we do these picks every single week. But I think he gave us Max Homa this week.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that, and he's one of the 6 tied for the lead. I don't remember Davis Thompson or any of the others. Woo Kim, I don't think he gave us Woo Kim. But I think he gave us Homa, and he may have given us Kevin Yu. That kind of rings a bell. He's one of the 5 that's one shot back. And maybe Taylor Montgomery, or actually, you know what? I think he gave us Sam Stevens too. I'll figure it out, but he's got a couple, I think.
Yeah, wasn't Brady big on David Thompson coming into this week as well? I'm not sure if he was or not, or maybe it was just he was high on them in the last one. So, but I thought it was a look ahead for Davis Thompson as well.
Maybe. I forget which one was which, but like I said, if these guys didn't have at least a couple of darts here hitting on near bullseye, then I'd be surprised, because they are really good at bust their chops, but they're actually very good with their golf picks. Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know how, Joe. Honestly, I don't know how they can keep track of all these guys. I mean, there's so many golfers, and when you rattle off names with these guys, they're able to give you like information, not just like whatever. Like they actually know. Like there's 150 golfers when you count the live golfers. And they're actually able to keep track of some of this stuff. There's not enough hours in a day for me, but God bless them. But they're actually pretty good golf bettors.
Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. I would tail all of them in a heartbeat. So they come on, they give us out some great winners. So excited to talk with Cam later, see where he's at, see where he's liking live. So I believe he's coming up at 7:44 Eastern tonight with us, Scott, before him and Gabe Morency take over all the way to midnight.
Yeah. Woo's already got 3 strikeouts, through an inning and 2/3. So much for my hunch on the under with Woo. So, but 2-0 Pittsburgh trailing now. So we need the Pirates to kind of get back to being, Pittsburgh Pirates, the nice little win streak here. If you want to put a little flyer on them now, they are getting, at least on FanDuel, 4-1 as they head to the top of the second. Down 2-0, or you know what? Maybe I wouldn't do that, but I would take a flyer with 2.5 runs. You always like to put a couple shekels aside to double down on a bet that's not going the way it should be going. I would hop on Pittsburgh, Joe, plus the 2.5 runs. If it's going to happen, they should cover the 2.5 at -114 too. Very little juice.
Yeah, and I'm shocked that total hasn't moved a little bit more, Scott. Like I know Pittsburgh hasn't done their share thus far, but we're only at the top of the second. We're 2-0. That total did drop down to 6.5 when we were in the first there, and the Pirates didn't put any runs on, or Seattle didn't put any runs, or before the Pirates put the runs on the board. But now it's back to 7.5. It's only -130 to the over. I do think it's a strong game where we're going to see the Pirates put up their share. So I would still jump on that over. I'd jump on the +2.5 at -108 that you mentioned. And then at +420, again, this Pirates team, they've won their last 6 now, Scott? They've been way too hot not to take a shot.
Yeah. How about the over-under on the Tampa Bay, Minnesota game, Joe? That was weird to begin with. It was 11, right? And if I told you there was an over-under of 11 and they're in the bottom of the second, no score, I would think maybe they drop it 2 runs to 9, maybe 8.5. It's all the way down to 7.5. It went from 11 to 7.5 after an inning and a half of no runs. I mean, did they just make a mistake with the 11, or did they see both these pitchers are better than what they thought they would be? That is a huge drop for 1 inning of no runs.
Yeah, both pitchers got 2 strikeouts already on the board, but to drop it to 7.5, no way, right? Over is -125. So when we had an 11, I saw 10.5 and 11s. So that's way too much of an overreaction to the first inning. What were they expecting? Both teams to hit a run in the first inning? Like, even if both teams hit a run in the first inning, right? Like, that's weird.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 3.5 run drop, and you're only, again, in the bottom of the second. After an inning and a half, and you even got a runner on base for Minnesota, which usually they kind of, tweak it back up. And that's to drop 3.5 runs after just an inning and a half. Wow. All right. I mean, boy, if you had the under 11, well, you get yourself a nice fat middle after an inning and a half.
Wow.
I would be all over the over 7.5. That's 3.5 run middle, Joe. I would do that. I would.
Yeah, I would completely jump because even look, we're in the middle of the second too between Pittsburgh and Seattle. There, it's a 2-0 game, but still we got a 7.5 there, a 0-0 to 7.5 when it was 11.5. That's crazy overreaction, Scott. So I love it. Yankees and Mets still 5-3, Scott. Live total of 12.5 in that one, minus 108 to the over. We're at the bottom of the fifth. Come on, Soto. Let's do something. Alonso up to bat right now.
What did Soto do? He's 2 for 2. He didn't hit a second home run. No, he didn't, obviously. But he's 2 for 2. Right? So two, it's a single. So he's got 5 bases. If you played those,
Right.
I see sometimes the 5 bases. It's like you might as well just play the guy to hit a home run. But he's now 3 for 3 actually, not 2 for 2. So 3 for 3 with 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs. Judge is 2 for 3 with the home run. So obviously he has an RBI. So, boy, if you just played the monster guys in this series, this may turn out to be a real good day for you if you did that. So, runner on first for the Mets, down 5-3, and there is 1 out. So they're giving you the Mets plus 255. That's not a bad. There's going to be a lot. I think there's going to be a lot more runs. So that 255 isn't too bad. The over 12.5. We got it at 11.5, but even 12.5, I think we're going to get some more runs. And you grab the Mets even plus 1.5 runs at plus 122 if you're interested. All right, back to the board we go. As we come back and get live game day on the grid.
Folks, there's not a deeper team in the NBA right now. And they got arguably one of the top 3 coaches. I'm going to say this right now. Houston is a legit, I'm saying this, a legit threat to win the NBA title. I'm not saying it like because they're the second favorite odds. I'm saying like in a 7-game series, I think Ime Udoka can outcoach more Dagger. And they got just as much depth.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Five-year contract. It's just, I bring it up only because who cares, Scott? It's just mine. Jaren Jackson Jr., good player. Don't get me wrong. $50 million a year. We all bitch and complain about the Juan Soto deals and the Ohtani deals, and you get guys like Jaren Jackson making $50 million a year.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Tony Gwynn had 107 career at-bats against Greg Maddux. Never struck out once.
Oh, that's nuts.
In 107 times. 107. Cam, if you took the modern player and said, are you going to face Maddux 107 times in a row? Like Vlad Guerrero Jr. and these guys, they'd strike out like 62 times type thing.
Exactly.
They'd be like 80 times. They'd be like whiffing.
Sports Rage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
And welcome back in game live game day here on the grid. Scott and Joe, hour number 1. Look at the little baseball. We got the 3 games that go, well, really a 4th, but it's 11-2, so that one's all but over. So put that aside for just a second here. Joe, don't know if you saw the Joey Chestnut hot dog eating contest at the Coney Island this afternoon. He did win, right? So, but he comes up short. I've never seen this. I'll have to go back and look at the official records. But he ate 70, right? They're all celebrating he won by 25 or whatever way. It wasn't a contest. His over-under was 71.5. I will say that. But then after they finished up, they go to commercial, then they come back and say he ate 70 and a half hot dogs. I've never seen them add a half a hot dog. And again, I'd have to look up the numbers. But I always thought it was you had to eat the entire hot dog, otherwise it didn't count. So I don't know what that 70 to 70 and a half did. But if I had, maybe the numbers changed. Maybe it was 70. And if that's the case, then you got to be ticked off if you had the under. Or I don't know. But that was very weird that they flipped from 70. And actually, they went from 69 to 70 and then 70 and a half. Very strange. Sad if you can't trust the name hot dog eating contest. We got enough conspiracies in sports, Joe. If we'd like to be able to at least trust the hot dog eating contest.
Well, exactly. It sounds like a statement my dad used to make. He used to fire up the grill, and if I asked for a hot dog, because he knew I wouldn't eat it, Scott, I'd have one bite and then I wouldn't like it. But I always thought as a kid that I wanted a hot dog, so I'd ask him for a hot dog, and he'd be like, "You got to eat it all, or it doesn't count." So interesting to see they added that half hot dog, right? Like, I should take that to my dad. Like, sometimes I had half a hot dog, Dad. Apparently, it does count.
If someone cashed a bet, because that extra half a hot dog was added. Now, you don't like I know people who won't eat hot dogs because they say they're not good for you and it's filled with junk and all that stuff. I get that, but you actually don't like the taste of a hot dog, really?
No, I don't like the taste of a hot dog, and I never have, right? Never. So, but I did come from I was pretty spoiled. My family in Australia were all butchers, so we had some really nice sausages all the time. So then when someone would throw a hot dog on the grill, I just never liked it. I was kind of snobby that way, Scott.
Right.
Give me a nice
snooty. Joe's snootiness is coming out. A little hot dog is beneath her. Okay. Give us the texture of the sausage, right? Maybe a little kielbasa, which is okay too. Okay. I get you. I'll tell you this, Joe, but we had fun about this on the podcast, and we had Cam on last night, and up in Canada, FanDuel, where you are, obviously, they had all these goofy props. Here in New York, we didn't have them. I did see the over-under 71.5 somewhere else, but they didn't list odds here in New York for him to win. But Cam was saying last night he was only, and I say only, 18 to 1. And, we go over these, like bets that you're just not going to lose, goofy bets, whether it's Baltimore Ravens in the preseason, they never lose, right? There's like 4 or 5. There might not be, legitimately, as goofy as the hot dog eating contest is, there might not be a sure bet in all of sports than Joey Chestnut winning the hot dog eating contest. I mean, it's I think the second place guy was about 25 hot dogs behind. It was over in the first 3 minutes. He's got 30 hot dogs. Everyone else is on 10. So there's just no way he's losing unless it's rigged or he starts gagging or something really crazy.
Right?
Yeah. Which I guess is always a possibility. Guys gorging, 70 hot dogs. But, if you had any guts, Joe, really, you take $100,000 out of the bank, you lay the 18 to 1. We all got 100,000 just lying around, of course. And you bet it and leave it, say 20 to 1, and you walk out of there with $5,000 in what? 10 minutes?
Don't do it. Right? You can't do that. What if he does choke? Right? What if he just withdraws last second? What would happen if he withdrew the last second of the hot dog eating contest, 8-1, and was like, "Yeah, I'm not feeling it today." Right? That would be
a no bet. I would think that would be a no bet. Now, if he started and then walked away, then you'd probably lose your bet, right? I mean, it's basically like anyone else in a baseball game or football game or whatever. Once you start, your bet counts. But if you walked away beforehand, I think it would be no bet. Yeah. But can you think of another bet that's he's not losing? He's just I don't know what it is about hot dogs because they have all these other competitors. And they're all champs with pick any kind of food. Anyway, waffle eating, pie eating, they're all like champs. What is it about hot dogs that he's so much better than everyone else? I don't know. But that's as sure a bet that I could come up with. If you didn't have the odds, throw the odds out. I can't think of anything that's anything more sure than Joey Chestnut winning this hot dog eating contest.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you remember Pat did the hot dog eating contest on air
Yeah, I
a couple
do.
years back?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
should be replaying
Yeah.
that, right? That
Really
was
killed
epic that he
himself.
went and did that. Right? But Scott, I
Yeah.
can't remember how many hot dogs can you sit down and eat? Like if you just wanted to sit down and see how many you could eat, how many do you think you'd get to?
3. If I was hungry, 4. If I really kind of gorge myself, maybe 5 in a 10-minute span. I mean, I'd really, really have to be hungry, right? And you wet the bun and everything. But it's the bun that kills you. These dopes on TV were talking about, it's the hot dog. They were like so amazed, like, it's really the bun. Of course it's the bun, you dopes. It's bread. You can't eat that much bread. You're breaking down science here. Everyone knows it's the bun. If they didn't have the buns, he could probably eat about 200 hot dogs. That would be a good question for him. If you didn't have to eat the bun, how many hot dogs do you think you could eat? I bet he would say over 200.
Yeah, I'd also like to know how hungry they go into it because when I'm shaky hungry, Scott, I tell you, I can pile back the food and not even feel the fact that I'm eating until it catches up on me like half an hour later. Right? Like you could just eat like crazy.
And the amazing thing, Joe, is that these guys aren't fat for the most part. It's like, where does it go? He's eating 70 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Is he throwing up afterwards? He's got to be, right? I mean, his insides must be like, just horrible. But that would be a good question. How many hot dogs could you eat if you didn't have to eat the buns? I bet it would be 200. That's what they should do next year. Be a little different. You're not there to sell buns anyway. Your name is hot dog. You're there to sell hot dogs. Build a bun. All right, more coming up. Grab them.
Pete Crow Armstrong on the mound to see what he does. Like Ohtani, just by himself at the plate, is the best hitter in Major League Baseball. Let's just say, keep it in the National League at this point. He's the MVP. So I can't wait till he pitches 6 innings, gives up 5 earned runs. Time they go like, I don't know if he could be the MVP now. Oh no, he's still hitting 300 with 45 jacks and just pitched 6 innings in a Major League Baseball game. And people are going to hold that against him.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You want to take that gap year and trade LeBron James somewhere and get value, legitimate value for a 41-year-old player, LeBron James, I still think, in return. I think you have to explore that because if LeBron wants to win a title, we've heard so much buzz for, I think, 3 or 4 years now, Kevin, about Stephen Curry and LeBron James wanting to eventually play together. This might be that moment here. If you're the Golden State Warriors, why not make that call? I think that's something to watch out for.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Saying I like their odds because I think they're insane at this point, but I do think they are a very viable option.
I don't even think their odds are that insane. Honestly, they won 64 games.
So you like this move for them?
Well, so the odds,
regardless of the odds, just from a basketball.
Yeah, the odds have nothing to do with it. They won 64 games. They were eliminated by the Pacers, who lost Halliburton. The other 60-win team was the Celtics, and they lost Tatum. Like I think,
and the Knicks don't have a coach.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid, talking hot dog eating contest as we wrap up hour number 1. Why not? We got a little bit of lull in the action with the baseball stuff, Joe. So I think if someone said, all right, here's whatever, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is, I could probably in 10 minutes I probably could get 10 or 5 down. How many hot dogs with the bun and water? They really shouldn't be able to drink water, but okay. How many hot dogs with buns do you think you can do in 10 minutes?
0. I couldn't force
Oh,
a
that's
single
what you
parent to
yeah. All right.
Right,
What
like, I
if it was
couldn't.
sausage? Nathan's sausage contest.
Sure. Yeah, if
The size of a
it's
hot
a
dog.
nice sausage out there, I probably 2 in 10 minutes, because sausages are really big, Scott, right? Like, they're, 4 hot dogs for, 2 sausages?
Yeah.
But then you're getting less fun, right? More sausage, less fun.
More sausage, yeah.
So-
It's funny. Afterwards, they were obviously interviewing him, and he said, "I wish I ate a couple of more. Sorry, guys, I was watching that. I'll be back next year." It's like, I think he knew. People were betting on his over. Who bets an under with Joey tonight, right? So it didn't see on TV or hear on TV, but apparently they were chanting like 72 because that was the over under, and it came up 1 or 2 short depending on what number you want to believe in. So I think even the hot dog eating contest is like not necessarily on the up and up, but everybody knows about gambling now. And even people that go to a hot dog eating contest are gambling, and they wanted to hit the 72, right? I mean, just a stinking hot dog and a half more. Just 72 hot. That's what you have to do. Just a hot dog and a half. You can't, and they had like 50 after the first home run for the Mets. All right, 5-4.
Right.
Brett Batty. Yeah, I mean, you would think he had like 50 after the first 5 minutes. I mean, I know you're going to slow down, but he was way on pace to set the record and everything.
So, if you could enter an eating contest for any food, Scott, what food do you think you'd have the most success being able to eat?
It's funny. We were on vacation 3 years ago, I think it was 2-3 years ago. We were down at Virginia Beach. We've been down there before. Kids like it, right? So me and my older daughter, we went to an all-you-can-eat place, right? So we got into a little contest, without like talking about it. But then, we were eating lobster. It was, free lobster, or not free, but all-you-can-eat lobster. Yeah. So that I can eat a lot of. She actually beat me, and she did. She ate even more than I was like, Caitlin, I'm done. I can't. You win. We had a big plate of it, and they were closing up the shop, and they were giving us like last calls, like in a bar for alcohol, right? So my daughter's ordering like another 5 pounds more. So
love it.
Lobster, fish, clams, anything fish I could probably eat a lot of.
Okay.
But, some of the other stuff, you said it, like they were revealing what these other guys were eating. Man, like some guy ate like 5 pounds of beans in 2 minutes. I was like, oh my goodness.
Really?
5 pounds of beans? One of the competitors. Yeah, I know how many beans, 5 pounds of beans is like a huge shoot in 2 minutes.
Oh, that makes me feel sick. Just sick. Yeah. I can do the spicy contest. Like, Buffalo Wild Wings, where it's like eat the hottest and then you get free wings. I can do that 100%. Give me all the spice in the world. I can enter any contest like that. But food amount that you have to eat, I just can't do.
Wow. So you like that Cajun, the spicy? What's that called? That's really spicy. Not Cajun, but I know they have that list there, like 15 of them, all the way at the end.
Oh yeah, like the ghost pepper, everything habanero, like all of those spices I absolutely love. So my son 1 year was going to order me that like really spicy chip to see if I could eat it, that chip challenge, but he never did one Christmas. So maybe this upcoming Christmas, but I love spice. So I've tried all of the restaurants' top, hottest, spiciest that you end up getting free wings at. And I've been able to do it every time.
Really?
Been able to eat all 10 of them. Yeah. So
you ever watch that show, Man vs. Food? It was popular about like 10 years ago. It's kind of died out a little bit now. Where the guy, the New Yorker, I forget his name. He would go to all these restaurants and eat all this food, all the spicy stuff, and he'd be like crying because he's eating all these hot, super hot, 10 times hotter than habanero pepper.
Oh, your eyes definitely water. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely water.
Wow. And how much do you drink? Water? You drink milk with that?
Oh God, I can't drink milk. You can pay me to eat a hot dog. You can pay me to drink a glass of milk. I'm kind of weird, Scott. Splash of milk.
What do you drink with it? That's it. Wow.
Yeah. Like a vodka water, lime. Get that lime juice in you.
Wow. That's it. Well, we got to do that. Next July 4th, line up those peppers down. Hour number 2 coming up next. Back to the board.
We're going to go with Cam Young at 30-1. I think it's a really nice course for him at the Rocket Mortgage in Detroit, Michigan for him. Wyndham Clark at 36-1. And I also like Alex Noren at 60-1.
My Morency drunken Brit dart toss golf pick, which does win like 2-3 times a year, guys. Insanely enough. But I'm going to say Matt Fitzpatrick.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
I do believe that SJ now is the number one player in the world. The things that he can do from the point of attack, offensively and defensively, his ability to drive downhill and score at all three levels. And the thing I like most about this young man at 26, he's so humble. He's so humble. And that speaks to the whole culture of OKC that Sam Presti and Mark Daigneault has built. Humble team, folks.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
No way that I'm betting on the Cleveland Cavaliers for any reason whatsoever.
No.
Ever. Like, when they had LeBron James, it was a different story. I think Spider's great. He's no LeBron. I don't see him carrying them to a title. And I don't believe in the Knicks at all. The Knicks never get it done.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Kevin Durant, at the age of 36 years old, after 17 seasons that he has played in the NBA DRS, is now on his way to H-Town.
I don't think it's a great move. I wanted him to go to a ready-made championship team full of a veteran roster and see if he can ring chase that way. Not to go to an organization on the come-up that if you just stay the course, and also, what better blueprint do we have than just staying the course than OKC, right?
The Early Line, only on Sport.
All right, welcome back. It is in-game live game day here on the grid. Hour number 2, cruising along, 4 hours until 8 p.m. Eastern time. Me and Joe Madden right here on SportsGrid Radio, SportsGrid TV on this Friday, July 4th. So, talking a little hot dog eating contest. Curry, that you said it during the break, Joe. I forgot which, it was the spice there. That stuff is just nasty. Oh, that stuff. I remember me and the wife were looking for houses, and we would go into houses that you could tell the family cooked the curry, right? Because it just sticks to the wall. Oh, that stuff smells bad, let alone eat it. You even like that for your wings and everything else?
It. Yeah, give me a great vindaloo. The spicier, the better. I absolutely love it. Lamb. I love lamb vindaloo. That's one of my favorite dishes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, with the curry. Oof, you couldn't pay me to eat that stuff. So, all right. Back to the baseball board. Stankies and Mets. We got Rays and Twinkies, and we got the Pirates and Mariners. We'll start with the Yanks, Joe. 5-4. Mets hit another home run. Batty there. They're batting bottom of the 6th inning. They got a runner on with, I think, 2 outs. 5-4 Stanks leading it. They're minus 295. Metsies are plus 220. Over-under is 12.5. We put it in earlier at 11.5. I don't know if I would double down at 12.5, but I think we're still going to get a bunch more runs. I think we're a long ways from over. And if anything, I would take a flyer on the Mets, as we mentioned earlier, and now it's plus 230. So I think this game is a long, long ways from over, and hopefully we get some more runs. Soto already has a homer. Judge already has a home run. Dominguez has 2 for the Yanks as well. So 4 home runs in the game.
Yeah, you called it, Scott. We've got tons of ball left in this game. So the Mets at plus 230, only down a run right now. Makes sense. They do have a runner. Actually, we're going to go to the top of the 7th. They just got that 3rd out. The Yankees did with Hill on the mound. But still, we're only down 1 run here at plus 220. So much value here on the Mets. And I do think the 12.5 still in play, plus 110. This wasn't one of your extra innings, right? Because this one started right before we came on. Okay. This one wasn't, but I could see it, right? This could be one of those games that is that tight.
In fact, do they, sometimes they do. I bet they still offer that. Yeah, they do, actually. You can get now at plus 550. That's not bad. Normally it's around between 7 and 8. You might get a Rockies-Dodgers one that, approaches 9. But for the most part, it's between 550 and 650, 750. So for a 5-4 game, 6th inning, I mean, at plus 550. Not the worst bet in the world, with these two teams and the way the runs are coming, and both teams well into their bullpen as well. So that's not a bad little bet.
And look at this, Scott. The Mets run total sitting at 5.5 at plus 102 to the over. We think the Mets are coming back in this game. We've got 4 runs out of them. We need 2 more at plus 102. We take out the whole equation of them even getting the win, because if the Yankees come out, go over their win total, that number is 6.5 minus 104. But with slight plus money to the Mets, I think that's a nice shot too.
Yeah, and then if you get extra innings, same thing, right? Listen, you're getting less, like you said, if versus them winning the game. But I kind of like just winning the bet. The extra odds is always a bonus. If you tell me I'm going to win, okay, I'll win, and I'll worry about not winning plus 2 and change versus just winning plus 102. So yeah, I do think they get 6 runs. Whenever you said that, so that's not a bad little play to go. No score still. Go ahead.
I was going to say, especially against this bullpen here of the Yankees. We've seen it in all of their series. The Yankees bullpen's been giving up the runs, right? So you saw them versus the Jays, right? Like they just gave the Jays every opportunity to get those runs. We got guys dressed as hot dogs out there, Scott. Not sure if you're seeing this right now, but they're doing quite the dance. One guy has mustard all over his face.
Yeah, I saw that at the Mets game. I don't know where they're standing. Kind of goofy. So combining Halloween and July 4th in one. And I think one more reason why right. So one more reason why the game will go extra innings is because not that I really could have. I didn't eliminate them. The game had already gotten well underway. But the fact that I don't have this game in the extra innings is probably one more reason why it will go extra innings. So we do have Twinkies and Devil Dogs in extra innings as far as the bet's concerned. Bottom of the 4th they go, so long ways to go, obviously, but still no score. Again, I wish I would have noticed. I'm pretty good at remembering lines, but I don't remember what it was. I know it wasn't 11, but it was 11 for over/under on this game, as we talked about earlier when it started. And it's down to 5.5. It's basically cut in half. Well, it is not basically. It is. It's cut in half. 5.5, no score, bottom of the 4th inning. I don't know what they were thinking with that 11. Maybe they thought there was going to be a pitcher change, or I don't know what. But you can count on one hand outside of Colorado games, Joe, and Dodger games maybe that are 11s. But this was, unless someone screwed up and put 11 when they meant to put 9 or something. But no score, bottom 4 in the 5th, or bottom of the 4th rather, 5.5, and then the extra inning. By the way, just to update that for this one, again, we do have this one in our parlays plus 550, like the Mets and Yankees.
Yeah, I would completely go for the 5.5. I did see 10s first thing this morning when I opened up my book. By the time I got it, it was a 10.5. And then I saw those 11s fire up. So I think, it started off slow. We see some of these games start off slow. As soon as the runs start to open up, they really open up, Scott. And I do think we'll have that in this one. I'm really shocked the Tampa Bay Rays haven't been able to get the runs on the board as of yet, but that's okay. We're only at the bottom of the 4th here, right? And we've seen a couple situations where both of these teams have left runners out there on base. So it's not like one of the pitchers is just doing that strong that the runners haven't been able to get on base. No one's just been able to be brought home yet. So I'd look at the over 5.5 at minus 10, at plus 100 actually right now. And then the Tampa Bay Rays at plus 122 on the money line. I still think they can come into Minnesota today and get the win.
Yeah, I think so as well. As far as the pitching stuff, props are concerned, Paddock has gone 4 innings, allowed 2 hits. He struck out 4, so that's pretty good. His number was 3.5, so he's over his number. I didn't have a good read on that one. It was 7 and 10. It's not crazy one way or the other, so I didn't play that. Littell was 4.5, same thing. It was 8 yes and 9 no as far as getting 5 strikeouts. He has 3 so far through 3 1/3 innings. He's given up 3 hits. He's got 56 pitches, so he's probably still good for another 2, maybe 3 innings, so he might hit that number. The one I did like with this one was Littell. His outs was 17.5, so we need him to go 6 innings. He was 13 and 4, going at least 6 innings. So far, so good. He's through 3 2/3. He's given up a couple of hits, nothing crazy. He just added another strikeout, so now he has 4. His number was 4.5, so you're 1 away from that. And he's only got 57 pitches. So the hunches or the leans anyway with this one, at least with Littell with the outs, looks halfway decent bottom of the fourth inning with no score.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I tell you, this Pirates team must be wanting to pull out their hair. They had bases loaded and we're not able to bring anyone home. We're going into the bottom of the fourth with Seattle still up 4-2. Come on, Pirates. How'd they not even bring one runner home, Scott? That's so frustrating when you see those bases loaded.
Yeah. Wu's allowed 2 hits. He's walked 2, struck out 6, so he only needs 1 more. So that hunch on his under, forget about that. He unless something crazy happens, he's got to get that. Do you know how many out there were with the bases loaded? Were there just 2 outs, or did they have the bases loaded with 1 out?
I saw it when it was 2 outs. There could have been the situation with just a 1 out. I'm not positive on that one, but definitely that the 2 outs, and then the next guy wasn't able to get anything done.
They had, let's see, they had 2 on with 1 out, then a fielder's choice. So they had the bases loaded with 2 out, not with 1 out, but they don't score. All right, more coming up in Game Live.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rhythm. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day on the Grid. Hour number 2 on this Friday, July 4th. Scott and Joe until 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We got 3 baseball games. Got a bunch a little bit later on. We'll discuss one of them here in a second. Got a little CFL action. We'll talk about that also in a little bit. Got a little golf, a little Wimbledon. Keeping an eye, see if there are any upsets. It's still, third, fourth round. You don't generally get too many upsets. Otherwise, these players, all the main players are like minus 10, 15 to 1. It's goofy. See, like I would just as soon bet Joey Chestnut at 18-1 than I would even Alcaraz at 15-1. And then some of these tennis players, Joe, are just like, they stub their toe and they quit very easily. So I have more faith in the guy eating 1,000 hot dogs than I do, some of the best tennis players in the history of mankind. But that's that's what you get with these tournaments early on. There's so many blowouts; it's hard to actually bet them. So, but we'll keep an eye. There might be a couple of upsets brewing with a little bit of Wimbledon. You're not a big tennis bettor, are you? Maybe you are. I shouldn't assume that.
No, I'm definitely not a big tennis bettor out there. So it's just, it's a lot to follow. Honestly, Scott, there's a lot of players out there between women's and men's, and I love watching tennis and I love playing tennis, but just to get into betting it, I think it's really niche. It's like golf, right? Like you've got to know every single one of those tennis players out there, just like golf. And I find it extremely hard. Now, have I tailed people? Absolutely. I have no problem tailing people, putting a bet in and on tennis. What about you?
Yeah, I like it. Again, do I know all these players? No, you're right. And that's probably why I don't do golf as much. But you pick your spot. So I know more, tennis players that I can bet on than I would golfers. Golfers, there's 1,000 of them. But tennis, I can do, kind of squirrel my way around the tennis court a little bit. So today, actually, everything is over for today. Madison Keys did lose, another American. Boy, the Americans have had a tough run at Wimbledon. So she loses to Laura Sigmund straight sets, 6-3, 6-3. I don't bet the women's side because there's so many upsets. Excuse me. Not that many on the men's side, not nearly as many, let's put it that way. But the women, there's a lot of good women tennis players. So even the ones that are unranked in these tournaments are capable, as was the case with Keys. Sabalenka, your number one seed, she won in straight sets, 7-6, 6-4 today. Anything else that kind of stands out? A lot of doubles matches. Men's singles, Alcaraz, he did drop a set. I was watching a little bit early on to this guy from Germany, but so it was 1-1 after one, but he ended up winning the next two, 6-3, 6-4. So he wins. Taylor Fritz needs his 4 sets. He's another American top 10 seed. He wins. Ben Shelton, favorite, wins. Rublev, favorite, wins. So the seeded players today on the men's side, if you throw out the Fritz being a lower seed, 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 5-0. So, and basically pretty easy. None taking the 5 sets. Women had a couple of upset losers.
Yeah, they did. But you look at the women's versus the men's there in Wimbledon, and you're getting more comparative matchups, I guess, for the women's. Like the odds aren't as skewed as out there for men's for the majority of it, Scott. Which is interesting to see. Like there is a couple of really heavy favorites at minus 480 and plus 360 dogs. But when we look at the men's, you're getting more of those than we are seeing in the women. So that's interesting to see as well. I'm actually surprised by that. I would have expected there was heavier favorites for some of these women out there.
Yeah. No, the Doug said it's pretty balanced with the women. It really is. But even in the 4th round, Taylor Fritz, one of the better players, minus 630. Alcaraz, minus 1,700. The Sinner is playing. Do they have his match listed tomorrow? Let me see if Sinner. He's 80-1. I mean, this is the 4th round. They should be a little bit more competitive, but they're just not. If we put in a parlay just for blanks and giggles, Sinner, he's not losing, although he is playing someone named Pedro Martinez. If you're a Red Sox fan, or Montreal Expos fan, you can put a couple shekels, play a little hunch on Pedro Martinez, right? So,
that's 2000.
Yeah, hey, you never know.
Watch, that'd be the dog that wins tomorrow.
Can you imagine that? That would be something. Alcaraz is 17-1, so that little 2-leg parlay would be down to 1388. Let's see. Let's get Taylor Fritz is minus 630. If we're willing to throw him in, he plays tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock Eastern time. Now it's down to 413. So, what would be? Forget if it's tennis or golf or football, whatever. Where are your limits as far as money line? What you're comfortable laying?
Yeah, so normally I say like minus 144, right? Like that's where I start to get out of my comfort zone going over minus 144. And I don't know why it's 44. I don't know why I picked that number and not like minus 150, minus 140. But I just feel like as soon as I start seeing it tick up after that number, it's just out of price. And so hockey's the highest I'll go at minus 144, and then baseball. But looking at tennis, and that's why I've always struggled to really dive so deep into tennis, because then you're looking at some of these players out there and they're minus 250, they're minus 280, right? And it's just like, I've got to find a way to bet it. And then the juice always seems out of control for them. So I don't love putting in those money line favorites into a parlay either, Scott. So I love the dogs, right? I love that plus money where you're able to find it. So that's always a struggle with tennis.
Yeah. It's tennis. You go broke betting dogs. You will, depending which dogs you bet.
Exactly.
But but that's a parlay. Like, is the Joker playing? He's got to be on here somewhere. I don't know if they list his. Oh yeah, he's 40 to 1. So I wouldn't put Taylor Fritz into that category, and he's only minus 630. But I'll tell you right now, Sinner, Alcaraz, and the Joker. Sinner's 80 to 1. Joker's 40 to 1. Alcaraz is 14 to 1. That parlay is just under 9 to 1. We'll just say 9 to 1. That's not losing. It just is. It would be so monumentally like crazy for one of those three to lose in the fourth round. But do you have the guts? That's gambling. Do you have the guts? Easy to say after the fact, but do you have the guts to lay 9 to 1? Right?
Nope.
Yeah.
Not doing that.
I have, and I've gotten burned. I have gotten burned, but wish we could have done Joey Chestnut in there. That definitely was fun.
Pete Crow Armstrong on the mound to see what he does. Like, Ohtani, just by himself at the plate, is the best hitter in Major League Baseball. Let's just say, keep it in the National League at this point. He's the MVP. So I can't wait till he pitches 6 innings, gives up 5 earned runs. Time they go like, I don't know if he could be the MVP now. Oh, no, he's still hitting 300 with 45 jacks and just pitched 6 innings in a Major League Baseball game. And people are going to hold that against him.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You want to take that gap year and trade LeBron James somewhere and get value, legitimate value for a 41-year-old player, LeBron James, I still think, in return. I think you have to explore that, because if LeBron wants to win a title, we've heard so much buzz for, I think, 3 or 4 years now, Kevin, about Stephen Curry and LeBron James wanting to eventually play together. This might be that moment here. If you're the Golden State Warriors, why not make that call? I think that's something to watch out for.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Saying I like their odds because I think they're insane at this point, but I do think they are a very viable option.
I don't even think their odds are that insane, honestly. They won 64 games.
So you like this move for them?
Well, so the odds...
Regardless of the odds, just from a basketball.
Yeah, the odds have nothing to do with it. They won 64 games. They were eliminated by the Pacers, who lost Halliburton. The other 60-win team was the Celtics, and they lost Tatum. Like, I think...
And the Knicks don't have a coach.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. We got a little rally going for the New York Mets. Well, when I say little, I mean little. Runner on first base with 2 out, but that's okay. They're alive, bottom of the 7th, Joe. We need a couple more runs here for our over 11.5 things have stalled. 5-4, they trail. Bottom 7, still getting plus 240. The over-under is at 11.5. So if you wanted to bail, you could. I'm not. I still think we're going to get 12 runs when everything is said and done here. So nice little 2-run homer would be nice here for the Mets. We definitely would take that and put that perch out there for the Yankees to be able to score some more runs. So 5-4 Stanks over the Mets. We got another run out of the Mariners, 3-0 Seattle over Pittsburgh as they bat in the bottom of the 5th inning. Not good for our Pirate play.
It really isn't. I'm really shocked to see that we haven't seen a lot of runs in the last, half an hour here, right? Like we've seen things, like you said, stall with the Yankees and Mets. We're still scoreless between the Tampa Bay Rays and the Minnesota Twins. So that total's dropped all the way down to 4.5. It's minus 120 to the over as we're in the bottom of the 5th here. And then the Pirates unable to get anything done are now a plus 870 money line dog. They're plus 3.5 on that run line, but that plus 3.5 is minus 158. So don't love the juice on that. But I do think when Woo's out of this lineup, can we see the Pirates get a couple of runs? Absolutely. And now Seattle with already 3 runs on the board. 6.5 is just too light for me. I'd take that to the over. 6.5 at plus 100. I do think the runs will come at some point. We're going into the bottom of the 5th, Scott.
Yeah. Paddock's got his 5th strikeout, so he is now, let me just double check on that. I think his was, his was 3.5 anyway. So, all right, so he's over regardless, but he's got 5 in case you did a little adjusted line on him. Littell's got 4, so he needs 1 more. I'm sitting on his 6 innings or more prop play, and right now he is, how many pitches has he thrown? He has thrown 69 pitches, 4 to 3rd innings. So, we're getting up there. No score. I mean, I would think they would.
What happened?
He gave up a home run. He gave up a home run. Kiss of death. So it's no longer no score. So it's 1-0 Minnesota. Now he's thrown 70 pitches. So I was going to say, Joe, that no score. I think he would pretty much stay in the game for the 6th inning, which is what we need him to do. Give him a chance to win the game. It's the one little advantage you have, when you do these out. The Mets hit a 2-run homer. How about that? Wow.
So we like to hear.
Luke Weaver. Who did it for McNeil?
McNeil.
Oh, wow. He crushed it. Upper deck.
McNeil got it done. Look at that line flip, Scott. The Mets are now minus 390 on that money line, plus 280 for the Yankees. So if you grab the Mets at plus 290, you might want to come back in on the Yankees at plus 280. Absolutely. I know you're hedging your bet, but you're going to make money.
Absolutely. Yep. Wow, we've been saying it all day, bet the Mets. Yep. So whether it was at 220 or it was like 2, I don't think you got the 3-1, or if it did for only a second, but it was in the 200s, 250, 260, 270. That's why they shouldn't have been, like, in a high scoring game, no matter who it is, Mets, Yanks, doesn't matter. If it's a higher scoring game, Joe, to me, those numbers are out of whack. They're giving you odds, because one team has the lead. But to me, a 2-1 lead is bigger, as crazy as it sounds, than a 6-5 lead, or in this case, a 5-4 lead. You get a 5-4 lead if there are 5 innings, you're going to get a ton of runs. It's on pace for that. You might not get any more runs in a 2-1 game. But a 5-4 game, I definitely would be willing to grab. You're going to give me 2.5 plus the 1? So, yeah, I would. I would hedge. Now, you got the Mets at 2 and change. Grab the Stankies at almost 3-1 plus 285, and you walk away a winner regardless. And you walk away a good winner, too. That's not like plus 140 and plus 140. You're getting over 2.5 to 1 on both sides. Why not hedge?
Oh, absolutely. So if you took the original 9.5 to the over, that has come in nicely in cash. We have 11 runs. Yep. The books have fired that total up to 12.5 minus 138 to the over. So hopefully you guys jumped on the 11.5 or the 12.5 before when it was plus money. So Luke Weaver out here has allowed home runs in his last 3 straight games pitching for the New York Yankees. So let's see how much more damage the Mets can do here, Scott.
Wow. He seems to pitch. I said it during one of the breaks. He seems to pitch every day. Man, this guy is always in there. And it's kind of weird. Like, he used to pitch, or he pitches the way I used to pitch back in my heyday, back in Little League, when I was 6, 7 years old, where he doesn't start from behind the pitching rubber. He starts to the side and kind of rocks back and forth, which is kind of cool because that's what I used to do. So I think I'm going to root for it. From now on, I'm going to root for Luke Weaver. So as soon as I start rooting for him, he gets up a 2-1 homer to the Mets. There you go. That's a black cloud. Football talk, believe it or not, coming up next.
Folks, there's not a deeper team in the NBA right now. And they got arguably one of the top 3 coaches. I'm going to say this right now. Houston is a legit, I'm saying this, a legit threat to win the NBA title. I'm not saying it like because they're the second favorite for odds. I'm saying like in a 7-game series, I think Ime Udoka can outcoach Mark Dagnall. And they got just as much depth.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Five-year contract. It's just, I bring it up only because who cares, Scott? It's just mine. Jaren Jackson Jr., good player. Don't get me wrong. $50 million a year. You know, we all bitch and complain about the Juan Soto deals and the Ohtani deals, and you get guys like Jaren Jackson making $50 million a year.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Tony Gwynn had 107 career at-bats against Greg Maddux. Never struck out once.
Oh, that's nuts.
In 107 times. 107. Cam, if you took the modern player and said, are you going to face Maddux 107 times in a row? Like Vlad Guerrero Jr. and these guys, they'd strike out like 62 times type thing.
Exactly.
They'd be like 80 times. They'd be like whiffing.
Sports Rage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the grid. Hour number 2, Scott and Joe until 8 p.m. Eastern time. Only 3 baseball games. We'll put those aside for a second, but just to recap, top 8, Mets 6-5 over the Stankies. They lead by 1 after the 2-run homer in the bottom of the 7th. Twinkies score a run. Top 6 they go, 1-0 over the Devil Dogs, and then the Mariners 3-0 over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Top of the 6th there. Next game doesn't start for another hour and change. So with that said, how about a little football? It's never outside of football season. That is for sure. A little CFL and some NFL with our good buddy Loud Esmond. Check out all his plays, all his picks. He's got free picks. HitThePick.com. That is HitThePick.com. What's going on, Loud? How are you tonight, bud? Or this afternoon?
Well,
really?
I'm just glad to see that Canada is celebrating the 4th of July with a game tonight between the Tiger Cats and the Argonauts. Yes. So go Canada. Thank you for that, having a little football on TV tonight. Tiger Cats and the Argonauts, one thing that they both have in common, their defenses stink. They're both giving up a ton of points, both around 28 points per game. Now, last week, Tiger Cats hung 35 points on the Alouettes, and the Argos won 29-16 versus the Red Blacks. The Argonauts kind of getting on track in that game, and so this number is kind of low to me at 53. So I'm on the over in this game. I don't really want to pick a side. It's only 1.5 either way. And I'm not really sure because the Argos just started to look a little more like the Argonauts last week. And so I'm not sure on the win, but I do like the over a lot. And then I know Joe is going to want a prop bet. So I got one for you. The Tiger Cats leading receiver is Tim White. He's over at DraftKings minus 130 for over 4.5 receptions, and I think he'll easily be over that 4.5. Only thing that stops him there is, I think, if he gets hurt early in the game.
Okay, so I like where
So
you're
there's
going
that.
with him. Yeah, what are you thinking though with Bo Levi Mitchell? If he is getting Tim White the ball that many times, are you looking at Bo Levi Mitchell to go over the 290.5 passing yards? Because we know he's been absolutely stellar with his arm. You called it, the Hamilton Ticats. That defense has been letting them down. Bo Levi Mitchell hasn't been.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against that play at all, because I do think that is going to be something that you're just going to see a lot of points in this game.
One team, they offer points for it's kind of funny on FanDuel. They only offer away points over 29.5 for Hamilton versus Toronto. I see the alternate number
home.
for Toronto. Oh, yeah. So there is a home. I don't see it here in New York. Maybe they just forgot to put it there, Joe. What is it for the Argonauts?
Yeah, it's 23.5 at -122 to the over for the Argos. So as long as Nick Buckle doesn't throw those interceptions, you should see him be able to get there too.
You like either one of those loud, or are you just going to go straight just to total? But if you were, which one do you think is going to carry the torch?
I'm just kind of on over everything in this game, because you have two bad defenses and two good offenses, and it's the Canadian Football League. I mean, we could see 70 points.
Well, we did the last time these two teams played, right? Like the last two times these teams played back in 2023, we saw massive numbers out there. I believe it was like both teams scoring into the 30s. So it was, let me just grab that exact score it was last time, because it was back in 2023. And yeah, I believe it was 38-33, something like that. It was crazy high.
Yeah, it was around there, like 70, 71 points, something like that. Now, I've got over at Hit to Pick, I've been doing, as I told you, Scott, these every day I'm doing a video handicapping somebody's over-under number, and I'll be through all 32 teams by July 31st. That's over on the Hit to Pick YouTube channel. A couple that I just did, I'm just getting into the NFC East, and I have the Eagles at 12-5 on the season, which would put them over their number of 11.5. And I've got the Commanders at 11 wins over 10.5. Now, the interesting thing is these two teams play each other twice, and I have them splitting. But if one team sweeps, then one team will make the over and the other team won't, the way that I've got it broken down.
Let's start with Philadelphia.
Okay, start with the Eagles. So they've got the Giants twice, Cowboys twice, Commanders twice to start, right?
Right.
So if they beat the Giants twice and they beat the Cowboys twice, they split with the Commanders, and then they have the AFC West. So they go Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, and Raiders. Easy win over the Raiders. They go to the Chargers later in the season, and I'm going to give Harbaugh the win there. They have the Broncos at home, so that's a win for them, and then Chiefs at Arrowhead, that's a loss. And then in addition, they have the Lions, and that's in Philadelphia. I'm giving them the win there. They go to the Packers, but it's off a bye. So I think they're going to win that game, and then they're going to beat the Bears and the Vikings, and then their other games are the Rams, with the Rams coming to the Eagles. I give them a win there. At the Buccaneers early in the season when it'll be really hot in Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay's dangerous. So I'm going to give them a loss there, and the Bills late in the season, I'm going to give the Bills the win there. That gives you 12-5 for the Eagles over an 11.5. Now, one of the things to keep in mind when you're looking at these season totals is you can't just look, okay, they're favored in all these games, so I'm going to give them wins in all the games that they're favored in, because favorites in the NFL lose about 33% of the time. So you've got to find some places where they lose games that they're not supposed to lose.
Okay. So the over 11.5 for the Philadelphia Eagles right now on FanDuel's coming in at +110 for anyone who wants to jump on that. Why the Washington Commanders? Where are you looking at them? You said the over 9.5. Is that your number you're getting? It's -110 right now on FanDuel.
Yeah, I've got them at about 10 or 11 wins. They get the Falcons at home. They get the Dolphins. They play the AFC West. They also get the Seahawks at home. They also get to beat the Giants twice and split with the Cowboys and split with the Eagles. And then they have the NFC North. I have them winning against the Vikings, winning against the Packers, which the Packers come to them, winning against the Bears, and then losing to the Lions. And then in the AFC West, winning against the Raiders, losing against the Chiefs, losing against the Chargers, and winning against the Broncos in Washington. So that's where I get 10 or 11. I get about 11 wins for the Commanders, but I could see dropping one of the other AFC West games possibly. So I'm solid at 10, leaning to 11.
Do you like either one? Like, that's what you have, and the numbers are pretty close, right? You're talking about one game difference here or there from what the Vegas lines are. So are these ones you're going to bet, or you don't like them? Like, you need like 1.5 wins, what the line is giving you, versus what you basically have is a half a win over the line.
I'm definitely going to bet the Commanders one, because I hear a lot of chatter of people saying, oh, they won a bunch of close games last year, so they're going to regress to the mean, and they're not going to win that many close games. To which I say, maybe they just are a really good football team and know how to win. And that's where I'm leaning with the Commanders. They beefed up their defense. They brought in Deebo Samuel. They brought in 2 pillars at left and right tackle. I'm sorry, they moved the left tackle to right tackle, brought in a stud left tackle, really shored up the defense. I just think they're going to be a really, really good team this year. Jaden Daniels is the real thing.
Yeah, definitely will be great to see if Jaden Daniels can come out nice and strong like we saw him at the run of last season. Are you going to be looking at props for players like him going into the season?
I haven't broken it down that far yet, and I've got to see what the numbers are. But I think Jaden Daniels is just getting started. I think he's a real star, so I'd be interested in some numbers on him. And then as far as on the Eagles, Saquon Barkley's total number, I don't know what it is yet. My danger there is it may be way too high.
Right. Check out his website, hitthepick.com, for all his plays. Hitthepick.com. Thanks, Bob.
Let's get down to business with the particulars. The Pittsburgh Steelers will get Jalen Ramsey into their defensive backfield. They'll get Jonnu Smith.
All this talk I'm hearing about they're going to trade TJ Watt, that's not happening either. Okay, so I don't think that's even remotely in the cards. All this talk today, he's next. I don't believe that. I think they're going to give him a new deal.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Times out of 100, when you get a gift for the boys in Vegas, what happens? The dude doesn't even get out of the first inning. I feel bad for him. He gave up 7 runs, 5 earned, but 7 runs in total, 5 hits, walked 2, didn't strike out a batter, and like I said, didn't get out of the first inning, got 1 out. I don't know how they do, Joe, but I'm telling you, those lines didn't make any sense.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Lonzo Ball, I guess, Chicago, they've just, kind of had enough here. Traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. What do you make of him being healthy? You think there's a chance? I mean, that's kind of the key.
What you said with all these guys re-signing kind of speaks to the landscape of free agents this year. Most of the guys, there isn't that much money out there to be had. I think the Nets are the only team that actually have cap space and can sign anybody outright.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is in-game live game day here on the grid. Scott and Joe checking out a little baseball, talking a little football there. Joe, we do have CFL, so you know what? We brought it up last segment before we get back to the baseball board. Nothing has really changed. So CFL, I know you got some plays for tonight. Line is now 4.5. I know we said it was 1.5 before, but it's actually now up to 4.5, and the over-under is 52.5. Who do you like in the game tonight?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game out there. We've got two really solid quarterbacks with their arms, but one that does turn over that ball a lot more. Now, Bo Levi Mitchell is the quarterback that I trust so much more, and it's interesting to see the Hamilton Ticats on the road, a 4.5-point favorite, but I do think rightly so, Scott. I never saw a 1.5 for this game. I always saw solid 4s or 4.5s out there, so I'm looking for Hamilton to just come out nice and strong. Toronto, you're looking at a team that's coming off their first win of the season, and we were rolling with them last week as an underdog to be able to get that versus the Ottawa Red Blacks. They came out, played a really nice game, were able to get things done, and Arbuckle looks so competent under center out there, and I do think you're going to see that out of him in this one. The problem with Toronto is they're coming off a short week. They've got a 4-day turnaround to play here on a Friday. Now, the CFL schedule, for those that really don't follow CFL a lot, is Thursday, Fridays, Saturdays, and then there's the odd game on that Sunday. So we are seeing this Friday game 7:30 here in Toronto, and Toronto looking to get their second win. Now, the Ticats, just to the overall better team out there, they're coming off an upset win, and like a crazy upset win. I didn't see it coming last week versus Montreal. Montreal, definitely one of the better teams in the league, but they were able to lock down on the defensive side. They were coming in off a bye, holding the Montreal Alouettes to only 17 points. Montreal has been on fire. So if Hamilton's defense can come out and do what it did last week, it was so outstanding, then Toronto's going to absolutely struggle in this one because Nick Arbuckle is the quarterback that's turning that ball over. Now, Chad Kelly's a regular quarterback here. We know he's out with injuries. There's all that controversy around him last season. So not sure when Chad Kelly's going to get back in there. But if we're looking at the better all over team right now on paper, it is the Hamilton Ticats. And I can't believe we're saying that over the Toronto Argos. The Argos did lose defensive players in the offseason. This roster really has changed over. Now I think what we look at here is we trust in Bo Levi Mitchell and the offense here of Hamilton to get their points on the board. They have a team total of 28.5. I'm going to take that to the over. That's coming in at -114. I'm then going to look here at, I do think Bo Levi Mitchell can go over his number. It is a little high at 290.5. I'd rather look at Kenny Lawler here, the top wide receiver for the Hamilton Ticats, to be able to get that touchdown at +115, as well as over receiving yards. That's coming in at 89.5 at -114. He had 27 only versus Montreal, but he had 162 versus Saskatchewan. He's a top target out here for Bo Levi Mitchell. So, and he has 2 touchdowns on the season, 1 versus Montreal, 1 versus Calgary. And then when we look at Toronto, because I do think Nick Arbuckle, even though he turns over that ball, is going to get those passing yards as well. And I think he's going to get that ball to Cozy out there. Cozy, the wide receiver, his number 1 target, has a prop of 71.5 receiving yards. Scott, -114 to the over. His touchdown I'll take as well. It's +120. 1 touchdown versus Calgary, 2 receptions last week for 82 yards. So on 2 receptions, 82 yards. This guy has absolute wheels out there for Toronto and can use them. We also saw him 3 receptions versus Saskatchewan, 51. So Saskatchewan's defense is stronger than Hamilton's. And then 6 versus Calgary for 98 yards and 5 versus Montreal for 99. So I do think Cozy can go over the 71.5. It's going to be a great game. I do think it's high scoring for Hamilton. I just don't know if Toronto can put up those numbers. And I mentioned that last time they played, 2023, it was 33-31. So I misspoke with the 35-31.
Yeah, close enough. FanDuel's offering a prop. Cozy, that's how you pronounce it, Coxie, Cozy. Cozy versus Law, head-to-head receiving yards. And they got DeMonte Cozy there at +194. And Lawler at -275. I would play the -275, but if those two guys are pretty similar, high-scoring game, I know you like the over in both, but enough that you would take a flyer at almost 2-1 on Cozy to out duel Lawler?
Yeah, I would, because you look here at Cozy. I do think Toronto is going to have those situations where he's playing from behind. He's also proven that he can be that breakaway or wide receiver on limited targets, right? So I think he has more of an opportunity to go off. And I think the Hamilton Ticats will be establishing that run a little bit more. They're going to be able to get the lead here because of mistakes thrown by Arbuckle. And that's the thing. Arbuckle's great. He's got a solid arm, but he makes those mistakes out there. So I do think if you're relying on one of them, especially at those odds, to have the most, it would be Cozy. I think he's going to be put in that situation where he gets some huge plays, and we might sweat it, but because Lawler will get, that, 3, 4, 5, 6 passes that are short and add up together. But you're going to see Cozy come out with some nice deep passes from Arbuckle, and he should be able to get the most.
All right, 52.5 is the total. Sounds like you like the over as well. So how high would you go? You know us. We got to go adjusted line, right? So we could go from 52.5 to 57.5 at plus 162. You want to add on 9 points and go to over 60.5. You're at plus 230. How high would you go?
I would be kind of careful with the full game total, Scott. I really like Hamilton's team total, and I think you owed that. Push came to shove, I'd take this game over but I just am a little scared. Hamilton's defense, while they played terrible every other week except for last week, coming off that bye, they held Montreal, who has an elite offense, elite defense, to 17 points. So that's where my fear comes. Okay. Toronto had those struggles. So if Toronto comes out, who beat the Red Blacks 29-16 last week after being a 5.5-point dog at home. If they come out flat offensively, Arbuckle's not, like, he's making those passes, but they're not able to convert them. We could be stuck in a situation where it should go over that total, but you see those trips to the red zone resulting in field goals for Toronto instead of those touchdowns. So that's what scares me.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense. So let's go with the one side. I know there was a play. We got to take a break. They have it now listed as CFL Big Play Specials. I don't think that was it. What was the play, Joe? Jog your memory in the break here. Mm-hmm. That was so good. We loved it, but then they didn't offer it all the time. Something like the longest play, or we'll try and figure it out and see if they're offering it this year in Game Live. Remember that? Yeah.
Devin Booker had to run the point when Chris Paul was hurt. And we're like, Devin Booker's a point guard. Devin Booker's not a point guard. Neither is Jalen Green. So I need to know, once you get rid of Bradley Beal, who cannot be on that team, who is the point guard? And then I think as a sixth man, I actually don't mind it with Jalen Green.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
You don't want a big that's camped out under the basket and clogging the lane. He provides a lot of really good defense, a lot of three-point shooting, and again, younger than Brook Lopez. It is a good match. I just don't think it moves the needle, but as we talked about to open the show, when Giannis Antetokounmpo was saying, we're not just going to sit here this year and say, oh, Dame's down, let's just take a pause year because I'd rather go try to chase a championship. So at least they're being honest and saying, we're going to make this team better.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Run here for Suarez, but realistically speaking, Corbin Burns out, Corbin Carroll is out right now. This is not a contending team, especially in that division where you've got the Dodgers and the Padres and the Giants. It's just too much to bear. The Diamondbacks would be smart to let Jordan Lawler play every day, see what he is, and then probably move on from Suarez.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Joe wrapping up hour number 2. Taking a look at the little CFL action with the one game later on tonight. We'll head back to the baseball board here in a second. But we were trying to come up with, Joe, the CFL prop play that FanDuel anyway offered every once in a while. Then they stopped. And it was something pertaining to big plays, right? I think you figured it out during the break what it was.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was under CFL big plays, and you were able to take a reception for 30 plus yards in the game. So I don't even think it was for one team or the other. It just had to be one reception of 30 or more yards, and we were getting great plus money, like 2-1 to our money. Now, the books have caught on over on FanDuel right now. You have to, if you want to look at something like that, you can still get it, but you have to bet a player for that 30 plus, and you're not getting the odds. So now Kenny Lawler there of the Hamilton Ticats for one reception of 30 or more yards coming in at -105. Cozy coming in to record a reception of 1 plus at 30 or plus yards is coming in at +130. I definitely would look at Cozy here at that +130 mark. If you're looking down further for the Ticats, it is Tim White for the 30 plus yard reception at +200. So they smartened up, because that was a moneymaker last year. One that I wanted to take into the NFL season. Of course, we never saw in the NFL, but I'm disappointed the CFL caught on. And thanks for jogging my memory on that, Scott, because I forgot about it coming into this season of the CFL.
Yeah, I knew, it jogged my memory when I saw the CFL big play specials. Like, if I don't log, I was telling you to break, if I don't log into my New York FanDuel account, then you get basically all the bets. And then once you log in, then it spits out what each state will and will not take. So I got all the props here in front of me. And I saw that big play special. I was like, that's right. Last year there was a play, and it just kind of jogged my memory. But yeah, they must have got beaten up on that, for them to make. We always say that the books don't make mistakes, right? But yeah, you know what? These days they do. And I think they probably made a mistake on that, making it just the team. Will the team have a 30-yard reception versus, as you say now they got it individually wrapped. You got to pick a particular player, which makes it obviously a lot harder versus just having any reception be 30 yards. So, all right, so we got that. Yeah, I'm looking elsewhere. I don't see anything else where that would have been. So
I know. And I just checked the other games without the quarterbacks with the big arms, because we have big arms today, right? So I looked at the BC Lions versus Montreal, and both of these quarterbacks still have great arms out there. Nathan Rourke coming out for BC, but they don't have the arms, I would say, Bo Levi Mitchell and Nick Arbuckle have. So still, we're having to pick a player and pick that team, and for him to go for 30 plus. So yeah, it's disappointing, Scott. It was like 2-1, 3-1 in some of those games for your money. So maybe Ottawa. Let's just double check. Let's double check before we say it's not out there at all. I'm not even seeing any big play specials yet for the Ottawa Red Blacks and the Edmonton Elks. But Edmonton, you definitely want to look this weekend at their quarterback for his rushing props. Problem is, Scott, FanDuel does not give you rushing props for CFL for their quarterbacks, right? You can get the running back. You're never going to get the quarterback out there.
Yeah. James Butler, I guess, is the running back. I got British BC in Montreal, a couple of props, but he's a running back. Let me see, just out of I do see big play specials here for Montreal and BC, and same thing. It's players, no longer teams.
Montreal's going to be mad in this one, Scott. Montreal coming up loss. They are going to be frustrated with that loss to Toronto last week. So going to be a big game, that's for sure. That's Montreal can get those pick sixes. And Calgary last night, Scott, what a game. Calgary coming in as a 5.5-point underdog last night in their matchup, just coming out and dominating. We're talking about complete domination. It was the first ever, they call it the Stampeder Bowl. It's the first time the Calgary Stampeders have had this big thing during the Stampede up here, but they took on the undefeated Winnipeg Blue Bombers 37-16. They were able to get the win. I think there were 2 defensive touchdowns by the Calgary Stampeders. They just blew them right out of the water. And they were a 5.5-point underdog. They were +250 on the money line. So it was a crazy game.
Yeah, I saw it working last night. I saw it at 15-3. And they were dogs to start, and then they were actually favorites then, and wow, they actually blew them out. So it didn't matter what line you got, you still ended up being a winner on them. Not bad. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back, start hour number 3. Pirates left the bases loaded for at least the second time. They're still being shut out. We'll check all the other scores and give you the final on the Mets and Stankies as well. In-game live game day continues.